I had this really bizarre dream last night. I dreamt I was up in this tree house, and the tree was just kind of growing all around me, and the whole world was spinning, and the house was getting smaller, and I was just flying through. And I'm just playing with the 360, Insta360 camera here. I'm having fun. I'm going to show you some of the same footage later on in this video, shot with the same camera, but not quite so extreme. A lot you can do with this camera. So the client is concerned that the tree has shifted. And I'm looking at the base of the tree, and I do see a few little cracks here, which possibly the roots may have pushed and the dirt has opened up. But I'm looking around the base of the tree, and I honestly cannot see any evidence. There's nothing here that says that the tree is moved. The foundation doesn't look like it's cracked, with the exception of some old foundation work. So we're in here lightening up this heavy side of the tree. She's very fearful. And this one particular limb was cabled, and the cable was as tight can be. I was using the air-powered throw ball launcher, the Apta, and I set the camera on the ground, just like I'm doing here, to take a good shot. And I got it on the absolute first shot. It was so cool. I was so proud. And I went over and I realized that I didn't set the camera to running. Oh, well, I missed that one. Let me see if I can get the next shot here. We're moving around quite a bit in this tree. We're setting up a lot of different locations. Because it's such a wide spreading tree, you've got to set your rope. And it's one thing to use the throw ball, but to shoot the throw ball, you're getting through some really tight spots. Not quite. Never thought about carving ugly fish with old firewood, but here we go.
Right now feels a little bit better without that weight. Before it feels like a really heavy.
A lot of times we'll get out on a limb, and this one's a really long limb.
Okay, send me the rope.
Okay. And Jorge could sense that it just felt too heavy. Get some of the weight off now. Now there's a bit of spring in the branch.
Yeah. This feels better.
It was really taut. Interesting. Did you check that cable?
I did. Intense.
Really tight?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to check it after it's all done, see how much difference there is.
What?
Jorge used the pole saw to set the rope and pull back a tightening knot. And I'm waiting for this cut. He's working with the pole saw to make it. Sometimes the branches are just too far to reach with a chainsaw, and you just have to use the pole saw. Good. Now this is an extremely awkward cut. Note that he left the wood that he's going to be cutting off later as a place to support himself. I'm underneath him, and this is actually the position that he's working in. So he's spread eagled up there. I don't think the clients really appreciate just how difficult our job is and the positions we have to get ourselves into in order to make these cuts. They just see it afterwards and say, oh, thank you, good job. Now, it didn't look like it, but that piece was quite heavy, and I wanted to let the piece fly past him and not swing into him and knock him off of his perch. The relationship between the climber and the ground worker is very, very important. Communication is so critical. Oh, wow. It was really tight before.
Yep.
Now it's slack. Wow.
Really good.
That's good. Now there's another big valley oak. Both these trees are Quercus lobata valley oaks. They're really wide spreading trees and the branches kind of twist and turn. I don't know of many trees that have branches that grow like these. They almost snake their way through the sky. So I'm going to show you some shots of the other tree here down below, and I'm a little bit concerned that the construction of this house may have pushed dirt up around the base of the tree. Here I'm doing a little bit of a shot to show the client just how much wood we got off of that one piece, because that's the one she was really worried about. I think we probably got about 1,500 to 2,000 pounds off of that end weight out there. But if she hadn't seen it, she wouldn't know just how much we did. Perfect. Yeah, the whole thing. I just need to be on camera. Oh no, the camera fell over. Did you? Oh, you just leaned on it. Now, there's a lot of different ropes that people like to use for the throw ball. This is my preferred rope, and this is called the Bonner Double Bag. I really like this. I know a lot of people have bags that kind of collapse, and they'll put a single throw line in there with a throw ball, and it all comes out just fine. But this just takes up so much less space, and I can put two setups in here, two throw balls that are flacked into these wraps here that I don't know, just more tarp type areas, but it always comes out just fine. I don't have any problems whatsoever. It only takes me a minute to put it all back together. There's a clip on either side. I use a 14-ounce bag, and the 14-ounce bag that they sell at Tree Stuff that fits the APTA is really important, because there's another 14-ounce bag that's a little bit narrower, so you have to get the one that fits inside. I've tried the 12-ounce bag, and it works, but it just doesn't make as much compression. And you can see how simple this is. I've got two bags in there, two different colors, so you can figure out which one you want to use. It's got a little bit of Velcro, so it pulls it all back together. Zips up really good. Somebody told me that they don't make this anymore. They discontinued it, and I think that would be a crying shame, because I love this setup. It's called the Bonner Double Bag. He did not make an undercut here, and that really scared me. We got away with it, but I was afraid it was going to rip and tear. Always think about the cuts that you're going to make. Understand the wood that you're working with, as well as the sharpness of your saw, how quickly you can make the cut. Everything you have to take into consideration. Forgot my helmet. Now, you might notice that he did not undercut it that time either, but there was no weight on the branch, so it's less likely. At lunchtime, I was there, and they had this beautiful gate that was not closing right, and it bothered me, so I had to fix it. I had some nice long screws, so I replaced all of the screws, and now it closes. Note the cutout in the house, and that's where the client said the tree was rubbing up against the house. So it sounds like the tree did move. Now this is just a little bit more footage using that Insta360 camera. It does shoot kind of a long, wide angle shot, so it does make everything look a lot smaller than it actually is, because these are huge trees. They're really tall and really, really wide. But it gives you a more complete perspective of the job. And you can see how close the tree is to the house. That's a new rain gutter there. That's kind of cool. If you put it on a long stick, you can get it all the way up there. And you can visualize a lot of things that you can't see from the ground. You can see cavities a little bit better. So this whole area here was developed when they bought the house. It's an ancient house, but they redid the house and they added a lot of new stuff to the house, like the deck and like this outbuilding here. So my concern for this tree down here is there may have been some dirt pushed up around the base of it. And like I said, I'll show you that in a bit. This is the base of the tree that I talked about earlier. And I walked all the way around it. You can see that there's an old foundation and a new foundation. That has me a little bit concerned. The old foundation was lifted significantly, and I'm wondering, were roots cut for the new foundation? Very possible. So the shifting of this tree is a possibility. Okay, interesting. She's having somebody rake up all the leaves under the tree down here, and I'm going to try to discourage her from doing that. She's keeping this whole area bare, and I want you to take note of the way this tree goes abruptly into the ground. You cannot see any root flare. Generally, you can see a flare out of the roots, and because there's dirt all the way around the base of this, I'm going to suggest to her that she does a root crown inspection, and almost afraid of what I might find down there. So this is interesting. I'm showing you this because this is the haul. This is the drag. This is from where a lot of the brush was going. I want to show you what I did all day long, dragging this brush. Some hauls are straightforward. This one had stairs and steps and everything I could damage. This is an Ipe deck. I couldn't drag brush across it because I didn't want to scratch it all up. There's a Ipe bench right there. And look at how narrow it is. I had to go up and down these stairs all the way through. Over and over and over, ad nauseum. And I thought, oh, around the corner and more stairs and more stairs. And it curves around the corner, and look at that gate I have to protect. I put that table down there to keep it from getting scratched up. And as tight as this area was, this is the only space I had to chip. I did that about 100 times or more. And so we got it all cleaned up, everything blown off, everything raked up. I notice a big difference. I hope she does. We took so much weight off of it, got it up off the roof, but the tree still looks pretty good, looks pretty full. I'm happy with this job. And now we have this tree to deal with.